The building was empty. Something kept singing. Yeah. Yeah. Diamond wheel biting the halo from mine while the mouth in the wall keeps perfect time behind it. Every spark is a second, every second gets counted, every silence open exactly where the singer expected. 5 years feeding hours to a tune with no stomach till the tune want my footsteps and follow me home. So I buried the tower beyond the lies power line where the trees refuse reception, but one cheap note still crosses the distance like a key cut years ago for a lock behind my eyes. The wheel has stopped. The song is not. The room is empty. Something is counting. Plastic little kingdom sleeping flat in a pocket. Old number, old money, old friend at the window. Cameras watching the furniture while the doorway learns. Nothing, house lights rise and the saint wears black by morning. Everybody swears the term was written. Flowers arrive on the meaningful date, and coincidence signs the card with somebody else's hand. Meanwhile, the mirror carries winter, the hammer loses its crown. 5 bells divide the day, and an oracle quietly places the needle beside it. The cards were marked it, the glass was clean, the camera face still left, nobody saw a thing. Teach the machine one curse and it salts every plate, asking for south and it borrows an accent from a souvenir shop. Right, old mate, with foreign letters prawns returning under an imported name. Language dressed for tourists and standing in the wrong hemisphere. Then somebody pours fragments, mirror storms and endless space into a paper cup. Calls the mixer a soul and uploads 8 minutes of it while the staircase beside me keeps scrolling downward through rooms I remember building but never remember leaving. Every door remains open, every room grows smaller, every voice sounds familiar, none of them are mine. 2 days, circling the drain without falling through. Heavy guitars, blunt riddles, heroes, villains, powder weather, $1 million plastic in a clever machine. Ducking every clue thrown straight across the plate. All of it turning in the same black water until the details lose their names and become a rhythm. Nobody outside the room can translate, which is how the truth survives around here. Dressed like nonsense, laughing too loudly, carrying nothing that looks important enough to steal. Let the tower speak, let the iron answer, let them hear a song. We hear the machinery. The building was empty, the walls were not. We killed the power, something kept singing.
North was established beneath the planetarium, somewhere between the blind clock and the well-worn cartographer. One covenant, one map held flat beneath the glass. But morning came and the coastline answered to another name. An iron animal that slept across 2 winters crossed the courtyard. While the province closed its eyes, somebody pulled it nearer to the distant tower and called the movement immaculate. Coincidence, the cartographer left with the keys and every witness learned the approved direction. I offered marrow for rust and winter for machinery. Another season underneath the iron rib cage, waiting for the second pair of hands. But the animal remained unopened and the covenant remained perfect, because nothing that is never complete can ever be accused of failure. 10 years of Sundays stayed sealed inside the envelopes, while one hammer in the lower chamber counted every absence. 1 in the 7 hammer slept 2 when the second hammer slept 3, and the foundations learned the measure. Everything comes back to me.
Everything comes back to me.
The compass performs its little circle because somebody nailed the needle to the only direction the map refuses to contain. The remarkable geography, the iron animal walked by itself, the sealed letter delivered itself. The keys escaped inside her hand, and when North finally reached the doorway, every warning bell accused the mountain. I rented weather by the hour, 2 storms to soften the masonry, one to preserve the distance, and another when the walls remembered their names. Then I gave the weather a body, painted its mouth, buttoned it into funeral cloth, and worked beside it until 3 sons occupied one grave. It carried black machinery out from beneath the foundations and collected payment before ignition. 6 colored moons assembled over the tower, but one refused arithmetic beneath the vacant disc. And instruction disguised itself as illness while the congregation laughed, and the ancient cabinet accepted tribute from every pilgrim, patient enough to remain for the final bell. This is how burial becomes an accurate marble, keeps the outline while bloodlines mispronounce the name. Amber prefers the smaller crimes, an obsolete glass attains a mouth that never learned to disappear. There is a procession beneath the banded pictures, and a face surviving the failure of its vessel, and a sacred name damaged with such precision that nothing else can answer when it is called. The first burial requires little imagination, only weight and soil and weather and the clerical patience of flesh. But the second burial requires cooperation. Empty the amber mist, place the map, permit every cartographer to redraw the coast until the province can no longer prove it ever occupied the earth. But dead instruments remember where incorrectly and incorrectly is sufficient. The mouth keeps moving behind damaged glass. Unit the glove approaches the cabinet. The vacant moon continues prescribing, and after 2 winters, the iron animal crosses the courtyard again. Cause every ruined object contains a version of events that the official letter will not survive.
Everything comes back to me. Oh, burn the map and hide the key. Oh, bury it when no one sees. Oh, everything comes back to me.
Yo, I keep a small son inside a metal vessel and refuse to teach it. The final word, I watch every open covenant collapse through imaginary noon until ownership loses its shape and the ashes refuse allegiance. Then morning restores the iron animals naturally, because intelligence at the bailiff who understands the lock and leaves the son in prison. So I buried the mechanic, the weather maker, the painted mouth, and the sleepless black engine. I bind him carefully because hatred was never written into re-agreement. He moves once beneath the cloth when the buried cabinet choose a hymn. The carved serapher is gone, but the iron animals remain. The foundations cannot survive being uprooted, and an amber continues multiplying without witnesses beneath the final measure of earth. Something closes its hand around tribute in some way inside the corrupted glass. A human voice repeats the damaged name, not loudly enough to lead the procession, but clearly enough to prevent the second burial from ever becoming complete.
Everything comes back to me. Burn the map and hide the key. Bury it where no one sees. Everything comes back to me.
The cabinet begins selecting.
You entered as the prompter with the master script in hand. I marked the stage in yellow tape so every change would stand the lead. Approved the new scene beneath the banquet light, the rigging woke. The scenery began to shift at night. By dawn the lines were altered, approval struck from page to lead. Returned with thunder when rehearsed a different rage. I turned toward the prompt box where the original should live. You fed me the revision and denied the first was his.
Wish I was in my garden, pushing up the flowers. Wish I was in my garden, fertilizing plants and trees.
I offered hours for a proper clean exchange of weight. One bargain crossed the footlights, then the dead prop changed its place. 2 seasons fixed in dust but rolling neatly after dark. Morning found it center stage beneath another mark. I asked who called the movement, who had whispered from the wing. You swore the cue was never given, swore you had not touched a thing. But silence leaves no wheel marks and curtains cannot drag the floor. Coincidence wore grease paint when it stumbled through the
Wish I
door.
was in my garden, pushing up the flowers. Wish I was in my garden, fertilizing plants and trees.
You tap the silver bellows hanging useless by the chair and ask why this exhausted actor will not purchase extra air. The lead performs the cruelty, the prompter edits out the cause. One writes the wound in scarlet ink, one hides it in applause. They mend the mask, extend the run, return me to my mark. Another edge beneath the lamps, another entrance in the dark. Each borrowed breath renews the part, each morning signs the lease. Inside a play where every truth is rewritten before
Wish I
release.
was in my garden, pushing up the flowers. Wish I was in my garden, fertilizing plants and trees.
Keep the theater, keep the billing, keep the costumes, keep the role, keep the spotless painted family with the understudy below. I kept the script, I kept the marks, I kept the scrape across the floor. Every promise had a cue and every breaking had a score. Cut me from the program, swear my name was never there, but empty spaces, measurements, and vacant ink remembers where I built the scene around. One fact the prompter had to see. Now the curtain falls each time the truth approaches from the
Wish I
wings.
was in my garden, pushing up the flowers. Wish I was in my garden, fertilizing plants and trees.
Listen.
I need some greener grass, but I am not sure if it is weed or perhaps a new location or some reconciliation without the humiliation. Maybe someone new arrives with no investment only past. Maybe someone no releases what they hold or finally passes. Maybe green is folded money, buying distance by the acre, buying somewhere every favor does not carry hidden labor. Every meaning offers freedom but requires a different map. Smoke can change the room around me, but it always changes back. Moving changes where I wake, but not the cargo that I carry. Making peace could end the war, leave me kneeling for the treaty. Money buys a gate, a road, a house where history cannot reach me, but I cannot tell which shade will grow a life. Instead of hide me, every answer has conditions, every exit has a price. And I keep asking, what is freedom worth when the price is truth?
It's been raining here forever, and I hear there's more to come. They say it can't rain all the time, but I never see the sun.
The keeper of the liars doubled down and locked away the key, and I cannot convince the blind that seeing remains an option. When ignorance is shelter from the things they might discover, you were summoned as a witness, then appointed as the cover. I explained the tiger at the table while it swallowed every ration. You kept nodding through the details, then mistook it for compassion. Every truth was in the evidence, every claw mark had a time, but you studied my reaction while the animal ate mine. You promised you could help me, then kept kicking at the can, hoping distance might erase it from the memory of the land. But the ground was tilted backwards and the thing came rolling home. Everyone who saw you kick it suddenly claimed the can was withdrawn.
And I hear there's more to come. They say it can't rain all the time, but I never see the sun.
Truth is not opinion, it is matter entered into record. You cannot replace the story when the damage has been measured. Other people bear the consequence when promise is an issue. When an invitation is accepted, you cannot blame the guest for sitting. You placed the thing inside my hand and snatched the promise back and told them I was guilty cause I kept the plastic wrapper from the package. I never put my weight against the walls because I knew the frame was fractured, but you had every room and still abandoned what we built between us. One carefully structured plan became a paper fire, nobody raised an alarm. Although the smoke had climbed much higher, every dream inside the kitchen rolled, burning through the night, and those who watched it pass insisted there had never been a light.
It's been raining here forever, and I hear there's more to come. They say it can't rain all the time, but I never see the sun.
There are always several reasons to examine your reflection, but when someone makes you question every reason for remaining, it becomes a little useless to expect a transformation after pointing out the obvious for 100 repetitions. You selected your blindfold for protection from the facts, although the smallest honest effort could have brought the whole thing back. Every time I offered guidance, you postponed it until later. I could see behind your answer you would never face the maker. You were only closing down another fact. I kept repeating you were present from the opening. You witnessed every meeting, then permitted him to alter every term after the purchase, as though Lieber was a promise he could cancel without purpose. 10 years spent approaching with the answer known in advance. Still I asked because I had no other road and no contingency plan.
It's been raining here forever, and I hear there's more to come. They say it can't rain all the time, but I never see the sun.
4 days without distraction, I am not done yet. Had a giant glass of nothing followed by an empty chaser. Once I might have asked if living in this state was recommended. Now my level of concern resembles eyes that have gone vacant. I retained the dates and paperwork, the language and the sequence, while you treated recollection as a flaw inside the witness. Every hole inside your history has waited for the filler, but you never liked the person who could prove the lie was thinner. Now the postman has been struck and left bleeding by the roadside for refusing to misplace a letter. someone wanted buried. But the envelope survived and him and address still exist. And the truth arrives eventually, however hard you kick it. I had another reason once for writing this excuse, but I would rather leave the party while there still is time to choose. Maybe greener grass is nothing but a name for forward motion, somewhere past the flooded fence and every ruined explanation.
Been raining here forever, and I hear there's more to come. They say it can't rain all the time, but I never see the sun.
I should not have written that, or maybe kept it in the drafts. But I sent the fucking letter and now the mistake is in the past. I left the written evidence and signed the fucking paper. Now I'm sitting here waiting for the consequences of my behavior in the thick sweat of regret, watching every silent minute like a vehicle coming slowly while the message sits between us with no simple way to revoke what I just said. I had all fucking night to reconsider, but the pressure found the language and the language found the button. Now the anger has an address and I'm wondering if honesty is stupid when you weaponize the truth. Because I meant every accusation but should have changed the way I wrote it. Now the facts will be forgotten and the fury will be quoted like the damage only started when I pointed it out to you. Now the letter is the crime and not problems is detailing, but I cannot take it back that I read it 10 times over. I wish I never said that, I just left it in my folder.
Don't think about the problem, don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and we're alive.
Every morning I awake beside a window with a view into the yard where I keep a stack of problems and I wish I had solutions, but I tried and they all failed. And the fucking restitution's like a check lost in the mail. All I wanted was some peace and that's the honest truth. But by the time I prove my point, you have already drifted off and lost your interest, like you hear what I am saying and understand the words. But when I reach the ending, you continue like you never heard. Like if I explain the difference between water and that bottle full of vodka, you would fill your cup and swallow every drop and say it's only liquid and it doesn't really matter, as if nobody's affected by decisions that you make. And my advice was always useless when your mind was already made. This is a limit to the words I can say to explain it, while you seem to hear me speaking and acknowledge what I'm saying, but the actions are the same despite all of my explaining. Were you even listening, or should I start again?
Don't think about the problem, don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and we're alive.
There are years of old regrets, I keep them piled in my yard, and arguments beneath the rust. And every job contains an afternoon when I believed in us. Every engine is a promise that was opened and abandoned. Every missing part remembers who was absent when I needed hands. And I offered to buy everything so I could cut the knot between us. I offered money, offered distance, offered every clean division that would let us both continue. But the answer was refusal, for the simple crime of asking. Now the yard is like a courtroom where the evidence keeps weathering, while they tell me I should let it go, as if letting go means leaving every piece of work and every year of life behind me.
Don't think about the problem, don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and we're alive.
There are sockets growing orange in the trays where we once left them. There are boats becoming seized in the weather where I left them. There are engines holding conversations with the rain that neither person who began them has the courage now to finish. And the tops inflate and settle like the lungs of something sleeping, while I measure all the distance between ownership and keeping. Maybe living in the moment is not pretending there is nothing. Maybe peace is not amnesia and calm is not forgiveness. Maybe all the wasted effort is a debt that will not settle. Restitution never comes because nobody sends a check, but I'm still breathing air, and that is more than something. I should focus on this moment and not stop dreading every action.
Don't think about the problem. Don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and we're alive.
Tomorrow when I wake, there will still be shit outside my house. There will still be words behind me. There will still be rage inside me. But I don't have to lift the weight before I've even left the bed. I only have to meet the morning as a person who survived the night. 1 hour is not forgiveness, and 1 day is not surrendering. Getting through this slowly does not mean that I accept it. I can make a cup of coffee, I can open up the curtains, I can write another song that maybe isn't quite as angry. I can let the phone stay silent without treating it like judgment. Maybe hope is not believing everything will be corrected. Maybe hope is only knowing there is something after this. And maybe peace begins by infusing to make permanent decisions in a temporary minute. I don't need to win forever, I just need to reach tomorrow. But when tomorrow finds me standing, we can face that problem then. One day at a time. One day at a time.
Don't think about the problem. Don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and alive. Don't think about the problem. Don't focus on the past. Just live now in the moment. I'm here and alive.
One day at a time.
There's not enough substance left on this earth that can override a come down from the height of stupidity, which is worse than a curse. Who drive rusty old car full of pinholes that align with the philosophy of peace, when the guns are pointed towards the people and not the coast. Like the threat was never outside, but in meanwhile the church is packed by those who wish you well on the surface, but scratch at the pain and it reveals there is another agenda inside the back rooms, where discussions are had daily about the conditions and how to shorten the rope, until the dog who was chained to the pole can't move an inch, and freedom gets taken back one link at a time instead of all at once. So you learn to accept it, and the memory of running the whole yard is just a distant dream about a story your grandmother used to tell you at bedtime. Don't you want it? Don't you want it? Yo, pay attention, I listened to the feedback coming from the horn and decided I should just turn it up some more before the two-step system that originates and orientates, disintegrates, and is replaced by another similar system, but with stricter restrictions and tighter conditions, and a way to restore the prior admissions. I took the elevator to the 13th floor to see a priest about a letter I had lost in the mail, and let the community hear about the hole in the floor to swallow everything we ever held sacred. And now the only law left is to preserve the rattle when the baby went down the plug hole long ago. Down the plug hole! Don't you want it? Don't you want it? I see you're still here, so I guess I'll keep talking. Although I made my point clear in the last song or two, you still expecting me to rehash what is already established. Or maybe the metaphor was too obscure and you're looking for the key to the lock I placed in the song to unlock the truth that was written in the lyrics all along. But the words here made sense to the guy who wrote it, and things needed to be said. Even if no one lives in the brick, it is now written and the truth is recorded. Even if no one reads the file or opens the cabinet or even enters the dusty old basement, fuck it, it's there. If they come and it's there, if they don't, I have to wait around holding the door, let the archaeologists keep what they discover. Don't you want it? Don't you want it? 3 days more and a new record is set, but the details are sketchy in the pizza box that we wrote the instructions on. Got thrown out the last time anyone cleaned up around here, which was a distant memory like the family we once were. And I am somehow to blame for pulling on the block that knocked the whole tower down when it wasn't even my turn, because I wasn't invited to play. But make up your own rules as you go and adjust them as well. I find it easier to just let you play your game and I'll sit it out, because the rules
so I keep my distance and my silence. And you can keep your weapons that you pointed at my head. When I question why you would sell off everything I ever made. You can you walk it? Don't you want 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 it?